For a company so prevalent across the wasteland and in all Fallout games, you would think that we'd have a better idea about Vault-Tec's real motives by now. But the truth is, it's hard to say. You see, Vault-Tec was originally founded as a semi-private enterprise that was given trillions of dollars by the US government to construct vaults that would house and protect the people in the event that the bombs did drop. As we know from the games though, many of these vaults were actually created in order to spawn weird and twisted experiments, to test things like radiation poisoning and what would happen if you gave a large group of people no food and no way to escape. Would they resort to cannibalism? But why was Vault-Tec even interested in doing these heinous experiments? What benefit would it be to them? Especially if the entire world would have been bombed to oblivion anyways. This is where it gets super interesting. In the original cancelled Fallout 3 Van Buren project, the creator of the Vault themselves, Tim Kaine, explained in the original script they were set to have the Enclave looking to find and populate a new planet other than Earth. For those that don't know, the Enclave is a secret group of high-ranking military and political officials that before the bombs dropped, knowing the inevitability of everyone's demise, formed an almost Illuminati-like group of powerful people with their own unknown goals to protect themselves from future Armageddon. This idea about finding a new planet to live on is especially interesting though when we start to dig a little deeper. You see, in Fallout 3, one of the most famous moments in the game is discovering a giant armed nuclear bomb in the middle of a city, and famously players can decide to disarm it and save dozens of lives, or instead opt to detonate it, wiping the small town off the map. But for especially astute players, they may have noticed something very strange. If you go up to the bomb in Megaton, you would expect to see a Chinese flag or emblem, as they are the main adversary who bombed the US. But instead we see Vault-Tec? We know from terminal entries in the Pentagon in Fallout 3 as well that the United States counter-launched nukes only after they had indication that birds were in the sky. But they only assumed it was China. There was no actual confirmation anywhere that China actually fired the first nuke. Could it be that Vault-Tec were the ones who actually launched the first nuke? Considering the cancelled Fallout movie from Interplay had a similar plotline, it certainly was the plan at one point. But why would they do this, you ask? Well, potentially to force people into the vaults they had created in order to perform research. But then naturally the question becomes, to what end was all this research they were doing for? We may get a hint of the answer in the newest entry of Fallout, Fallout 76. You see, in-game we can find a university that was bought out by Vault-Tec before the bombs dropped. And when it was bought, almost all of the staff were immediately laid off, leaving only high-value engineers and scientists in place. The only other two staff that were kept were two linguists, specifically linguists who were studying the Horse Creek petroglyphs, a real set of weird markings on stones in our real life. Some Reddit and Discord users were able to data mine these glyphs and found that in-game some of the markings can be deciphered and translated to say, "Prepare yourself for the destruction of your life by fire when you arrive. Life weakens. Protect what remains of Earth." Is Vault-Tec's ultimate goal to conquer the stars and make contact with aliens and helping them to do so? All while performing crazy experiments on helpless civilians in order to advance technology towards this goal? We may never know the answer, but I really hope if we don't get a new Fallout anytime soon, Starfield could potentially show us a future remnants of Vault-Tec on different planets, even if just as an Easter egg.